Charlie, thank you. A video that was taken in San Diego, California back in June is going viral right now on TikTok. The man in the video looks a lot like a man from Watertown, Wisconsin, who authorities say faked his own death and fled to Europe. So authorities say that Ryan Borgwart looked into moving money to foreign banks and was also in communication with a woman from Uzbekistan. So the last that anybody knew, Borgwart, though, was going kayaking on Green Lake but never came home. A massive search on that lake lasted for weeks, but nothing turned up.
So this is a side-by-side picture that we have of Borgwart and the man that you can see in that video. So here's a clip where this TikTok creator offers the man some free advice.
I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Say that one more time.
Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Do you have family there?
No.
Why do you want to go?
Meet a woman?
So you've given up on meeting someone here?
No, I'm married.
So the similarities are uncanny here. You hear the man mention Uzbekistan in that video. That video, again, taken back in June. Borgwart first reported missing in August.
Now, the content creator, Bailey Boomhauer, says this whole thing is bizarre.
Just the stories kind of seem to line up, and he does look very similar, but obviously anything could happen. It could very well not be him, but it just seems like it could be him.
Again, just a crazy twist here. The video, again, was taken before Borgwart went missing in August. So the big question is the man in the video on the left Ryan Borgwart? In a Facebook post, the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office says they don't think so. But when we asked them in person, they said they will investigate this further.
Now, the Sheriff's Office brought in Bruce's Legacy to help with the search in Green Lake. Bruce's Legacy is a nonprofit dedicated to the search and recovery of drowning victims. Founder Keith Cormacan used specialized technology to try and locate Borgwart in the water. He says that this investigation really took a turn when he told authorities something was off when nothing came up after 23 days on the water.
That's when I finally told the sheriff that, we need to look elsewhere.
Several law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, are now investigating this case.